Okay.
Let's talk about a movie that does go off the rails. We all watched Civil War.
Yes.
Bradley, why don't you go in first? What did you think of this movie?
I I don't know what other people think. I thought it was kind of boring.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, like, there's really good stuff in it, and it's most certainly not boring when shit is happening. Like, that entire final stretch was, like, I think
Insane.
really well done.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get that into it.
Really?
That's interesting. Well,
That's interesting.
do you think it's because you couldn't connect with the characters, maybe?
That might have been it. And it's not like they didn't have interesting stuff going on. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It just wasn't very interesting. To me.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear. Willard, what did you think?
To
We're
be
gonna go
fair-
in reverse order.
Yeah, we'll go in reverse watch order. To be fair, I don't like necessarily know if there's like a movie Bradley would generally watch, but yeah, that is interesting. I don't think it was boring. I thought it had pretty good pacing because I can like distinctly go in my mind and be like the little set pieces that we went through, like weird sniper duel against the dude in the house, or shooting that one fight between the militia and the U.S. Army or whatever.
The car wash scene.
The car wash scene, yeah, distinct, and then like the scene that stole the show, which is Jesse Plemons in anything, is just peak fiction. How is he so good at being intimidating?
Sorry to interrupt you. But interesting thing about him is, first of all, he's from Texas.
Yeah.
Oh.
Second of all, I only know this because I picked up a magazine while I was waiting in line at HEB that had an interview with him.
That's cool.
Oh.
I found out that he was on this movie by accident, like a Mike Ehrmantraut scenario where the dude didn't show up and he's married to Kirsten Dunst. So she's like, hey, my husband's here if you want him to do the role. And then he just showed up and stole it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's the bigger plot twist there is that he's married to Kristen Dunst. I'm gonna be real honest with you.
I knew that and I forgot about that, but yeah, they are. I will say, have y'all, Joe, you've seen Game Night, and I think Tyler, you said you saw Game Night too, right?
I've seen bits, not sat down and watched the whole thing through.
You should. That is a Tyler movie. I adore him in Game Night, Joe. How can that be profitable for Frito-Lay?
I was just about to say.
Incredible role. He's so good at what he does. And then the finale is very crazy. So what did I think about it overall? I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I think it's got cool world building. Do y'all know the biggest criticism that the internet has with this movie? And maybe maybe this is what Bradley had.
I haven't seen much of the discourse.
It's either, let me guess, it's either we don't know why there's a civil war happening, or Texas and California should not be on the same side because they never would do that together.
I love that they did that.
It's a little bit of both. The main criticism is that it doesn't explain why it happened. And because of that, its politics are loose. And I'm like, I get that, but that's not what the movies... So they're like, the messaging's unclear, but like...
No.
Clearly, that's not what the movie is going for.
No, because that's the thing, like...
About something.
Like, if you explained anything about either of the sides in this movie and why they're fighting and what they stand for, this is going to become a political-ass movie, and no one's going to care about the message. They're just going to be arguing about it over Twitter. So that's what's cool, is like, this movie's not so much about that war. It's more about like, what does it look like on the ground to the people in a country when the war's going on?
Exactly. And the thing about that is like the movie would just become a tool of hatred at that point. And it's totally fine to make a movie about your political view, but this isn't that. So people came in wanting to confirmation bias, like to have the movie tell them that their opinions are all right. And I think we're all like, we're fine with our opinions. We just want to see what the movie actually is about to me. Is that what the war does to people, and it brings out all sides of bad things. And like, if you want a movie that's like anti-Republican or fascist, there's a lot of that in there. But then it also has like the Western Front just committing war crimes, and you just get to see how like it brings out the worst in everyone.
Yeah.
And how journalism dies in a scenario where they become desensitized to what they're doing, so all they care about is competing. And that is like one of my like. That's an interesting thing, and it is portrayed well, but it did distance me from the characters, which is why I asked Bradley that. Like, particularly the third act, very cool action sequence, but I think the characters just nosedived in that third act.
Ooh, I don't think so.
That's fair. I could see that. Like, I will say the best character is obviously Kirsten Dunst's character. She's very well acted, I will say. But I think, like, her death just getting brushed off by everyone. Jessie caused both of the deaths in this movie, so good job, girl. You're doing great in the world. And then, like, neither her nor, like, Pedro Pascal looking dude reacted to her death. They just move on. Pedro Pascal's guy, like, was hard to connect with because there wasn't much to him aside just being an adrenaline junkie, I felt like, and hitting on a 22-year-old. So it's like, I don't know, like, I wanted to, because he's very fun. He's like, it's a fun personality, but he's not very, like, he's nowhere near, I think, the elder gentleman that was with him and Kirsten Dunst's character, where I thought were more interesting.
Fear.
Interesting.
So that'll
think,
be my take. So we'll go to whoever watched it next.
Tyler.
I find it very interesting that, like, I don't know, this movie had a lot of symbolism and shit in it with the way that their characters. I feel like I really connected with these characters.
Interesting. That's so interesting.
I did too. I felt very.
Like, it all made sense to me. Like, first of all, like, the movie is about war with the absence of politics in it, which is, first of all, good feat. The people who are mad online are the people who either are too young to understand our political history that we've been going through for the last 8 years, or and like what life was like before that, which totally understandable.
And a
like,
plus,
it's not anybody's fault. They just didn't live it.
A plus to this is also, like you're saying, you can gather a lot of the world building through how people talk and through the environment. I think that's like a big plus of this movie. I'm like, you can get why the Civil War started. A president became a fascist who ran 3 terms, canceled the FBI, and then broke the Constitution so much that both California and Texas said, "Yeah, no, fuck that."
And
so, like, you can
also split off as well.
Yeah, I think what, like, led to the start of war is, it's inferred, is after he did all that, like, those states seceded, and then immediately after that he started doing airstrikes on the states.
And there was their airstrikes and the Antifa massacre, which is how our main character got her start. So it's cool piecing that together, and like, so I don't know, I don't really need to. It's a cool way to, like, there is a reason it exists. We're not going to weaponize it as a politics tool, and I can live with that. I think that's fine. But that's cool that y'all could connect with the characters that way. It was a little tougher for me near the end.
Okay, so, like, the death part is.
I'm glad we all watched this, because I do want to talk about that last scene, because I think that last scene is stellar.
So I want to talk about this too. So it's actually prior to the last scene, and it's actually a concept of the entire movie, and they pointed out early on, whenever Kirsten and Dunst,
I think her character's Lee.
Jessie, and what's the young girl's name?
Jessie's the girl, and Lee is Kirsten.
Lee comments about Jessie's camera, and Lee is like, "Yeah, I know it's older camera. It was my dad's, and it is. It's an older style camera where you have to develop the film yourself." And this is another theme that we carry on as, like, what she takes the photos of are, like, not everything's a keeper, but when you develop your own film, those aren't, like, you have to look at those. Those are things you see, you know? And when the elder gentleman dies, Jessie takes a photo of him. Like all photographers will. They're all battle scarred. They're all miserable. They understand death more than, like, most people do, other than the soldiers who are causing it, because they sit there and witness it. That's, like, their role.
Yeah.
But she deletes the photo out of, and she's like, "This is my respect to him."
I missed that somehow.
Yeah. So she deletes the photo of the guy who dies because she's on a new digital camera and she's reviewing it. But when Jessie takes the photo of Lee, she cannot delete it. She has to develop that film. It has to be developed. She has to look at it. And this is like the passing of the torch. And you can even see in that final encounter, like, Lee is freaking out. She is shaken by her friend's death, and she's just done. She's just fucking done.
Yeah, it got to her.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about death recently since I last watched Train to Busan.
Hey man, same.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Like, there's a moment in that movie where the homeless man who makes it nearly to the end of the movie.
Oh, don't spoil Train to Busan. I haven't seen it yet.
What?
I know. Y'all do this every time. I'm sorry.
Anyway, there's a part in that movie that made me just kind of really think about, like, nobody chooses where they die.
Yeah.
You might as well die for something you actually care
Care
about.
about.
So, like, that moment, I think, means a lot to both Lee and her death and, like, Jesse as a character's development. And, like, that's, like, a core memory now.
Yeah. And don't forget, like, at the beginning of the movie, they're walking, they're looking at the helicopter, and Jesse turns to Lee and goes, if I got shot, would you take a picture of me?
Yep.
And he goes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was the Chekhov's picture for sure.
Yeah.
The death scene was so stupid, though. I gotta say,
The scene itself, very fucking
they
stupid.
could have blocked that out a little better, like movement wise.
I wish he had gotten shot in the head because we don't see, like, I'm like, bitch, don't you have a bulletproof vest on?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that for?
I believe she was alive but knocked out, and I don't know. I'll have to see what the director says.
The blocking was absolute ass. I agree.
Yeah.
Make it graphic, shoot her in the head, make it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
What would have been better would have been like something happens to Jesse's like vest, and so Lee gives her vest, as like
Mm.
The
first
death
protection.
itself was very bad.
Yeah. But I'd like the imagery of like, or like the irony of it.
I like the symbolism of the cameras. I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
real thing, but that's what
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw it as.
100%. That's a good analysis there, Tyler. I didn't think about the permanent scene, having to look at those pictures.
Yeah.
That's a really good catch.
I wish we got that interview with the president.
Oh,
Shut up. But I know what you're gonna say. It fits the theme so well of when the older gentleman was like, "It's not gonna be worth it when you get there." It's not gonna be impressive.
No, he goes, "Can I get a quote?"
Yes.
It's the quote.
Yeah.
But the quote was meaningless. It was just a little. He didn't care.
No. It's not completely meaningless. The quote is, "Please don't kill me." It's like,
No,
that's good
Please
enough.
don't let them kill me.
Yeah.
That is on par with you lacked worthy opponents.
Whoa, slow down, buddy.
Well, because like think about that. Like the journalist guy could have at least stepped in and say like, "Let me get me one interview with him," and really stopped it. But he doesn't. He just lets it happen.
The
Because
journalist
he's just trying to get the point. He doesn't care what he says, and like that's why.
No. So there's a point in the movie. I hate the part with Jesse Plemons in it. I fucking hate that part because the Texan in me literally is yelling at the screen, "Pick up the fucking gun. You are going to die if you do not defend yourself."
Who could pick up the gun?
When they're running away after getting shot at? After the van slams into the two soldiers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It didn't amount to anything, but yeah.
No, but
It really
a gun flies up in the air. They could have picked it up on their way to the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
with them.
pick up the fucking gun.
Send President Valentine.
But
Johnny
it's like a code that doctors take. Like they can't kill anybody, you know?
Yeah, the
So, like,
Hippocratic Oath.
journalists do not pick up guns. That's like that's the rule.
Well,
So
when you pick up a gun, you become a soldier. That's
yeah,
the thing.
yeah. So whenever the guy at the end says that'll do, that's like him getting to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's cool elements to it for sure.
I really liked that final scene. And then did you watch the credit shot?
No.
I stayed so long, but I didn't. I was like,
You didn't watch the film develop in the credits?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Them standing in the photo.
Yeah. You didn't watch the film develop, Willer?
No, it was 12:30 and that movie.
Okay.
That's why I
film-
posted that GIF. That movie was bleak as shit, and I wanted to go home.
They developed the photo that Jesse takes, and it looks like a hunting photo, like these people went on a hunting trip. It is a bleak movie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I personally really like the movie. I don't think it's like the greatest movie in the world.
I
but,
gave
like,
it a 4. You guys were like, it's a bullet train scenario. It's like, no, it's not.
And here's the thing, like, my objective rating of the movie is way higher than my personal rating, because, like, I got what they were going for. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. I think my problem is, I was just one of those people who wanted to see a fucking war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so
Yeah,
monkey-brained. I mean,
I
you
am
got
so
it at the
monkey-brained.
end.
That's the thing, like, the last 20 minutes, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Well, I think that's the other thing too, Bradley.
But
is that,
like, yeah,
but like
go
the
on.
thing is like your concept of what a war is not what war actually is.
Yeah,
And I
Bradley,
think that's
you're
another.
stupid. I'm kidding.
That's the thing, it's not just D-Day,
Yeah,
it's also
yeah.
what happens back home.
I'm just
To-
just trying to like
To
point
me,
out that
seeing the signs of fall of society were more interesting than the combat. And
Yes,
the combat was
yeah,
great,
yeah.
but the fall, like the how society fell in different little corners. You got a dude in a house in a perpetual sniper fight with an enemy they
Yeah.
don't care about. You got like
Those guys being such sarcastic shits. The Sniper and the Spotter.
yeah,
I fucking love them.
very.
what are y'all
fun.
doing? We're fighting, or something,
Which is-
something like that.
They're like, you don't know who you're fighting against, and they're like, yeah, and like that's kind of like a point of the movie. It's like the
Yeah.
war has devolved into just like brother fighting brother,
It's
whatever,
just-
survival.
It just becomes senseless violence. Like
Any-
people are just fighting over things. Like there's a point where like they are fighting. They're at like a school or something, and they're just shooting and fighting. It's like two squads just fighting each other like
Yeah.
it's an FPS map. It doesn't make sense what they're doing there at all.
They're
like-
just having a fight.
Yeah,
It's
just
crazy.
and the guys in like Hawaiian shirts and flip flops and like a bulletproof vest when they do it.
Dude, y'all seen that meme of like the soldiers and there's a clown holding a gun and like the point of the meme is like who invited this guy? That's how I felt when they would like walk up the stairs and then you would see the reporters behind them.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The clowns with the guns.
I really like the movie, especially as my father, who is a journalist and just kind of
Oh,
like,
cool.
or was a journalist, I say, like he wasn't in war or anything, but just understanding like he would have to go out to some of these incidents and like have to talk to these people and like he at one point he did like a bit for like a true crime show where he did a newspaper report and then had an interview with those people and like had to turn the report in for them, kind of a thing. So it was just interesting to like, because I've heard so much things about like how it works there in journalism. So just being able to like see it on film, or as the focus point of the movie, was very cool. And also very different from what I was expecting. But I just really liked it. We kind of went over a lot of what I wanted to say, but I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very well done. The one I do want to say though, that like that Washington D.C. fight, like. Fun fact about Washington D.C. is that you can't build anything higher than like the Washington Monument, and there were definitely buildings shown there that were higher than that.
Yeah.
So it was all filmed in Atlanta. Oh, also like another thing about the war, like you talk about the breakdown of society war, but then also there you have the pockets of like the war
Yeah.
never hit us, and we just continue on with our lives.
We just stay out of it.
Yeah, and like they talk about how like their parents like don't partake in it, right?
Mhm.
Like they act like it doesn't happen. And then yet the journalists are also there acting like nothing's happening or like they're not part of it, that they're just observing it,
Yeah.
right? Like it's an interesting kind of dichotomy there. I think the movie's good. I think we all enjoyed it on some level. Bradley probably less so.
But
But
like
like,
it's still a good movie.
yeah.
He just
Uh,
wanted shoot. Big shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
That's good. We got
Yeah,
get
I think I'm just a victim of expectations.
that
Oh,
that is very
but that's-
valid.
But that's not the important part of this whole conversation. The important thing is I saw this movie with my mother. So
What'd she think of it, Joe?
that's the next question, Tyler. Do y'all think my mother thought this movie was weird or not?
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay.
I'm predicting a no for like I'll just play the odds.
Okay. Bradley, any thoughts?
I'm gonna go for yes.
Okay. My mother didn't think it was weird, but she was incredibly shaken afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
We also sat down and we started watching the movie, and they were showing like previews, and we get to like the start of the movie, and she looks over to me. She's like, "This isn't about the American Civil War."
No, mother.
Oh
No.
boy.
But at the same time, yes, mother. Yes.
Yeah. But like she still enjoyed it, but
Nice.
like she does not do good with like violence like that. Like the Jesse Plemons scene really got to her.
That scene, Jesus Christ, Hong Kong, China, bang. God damn.
What kind of American are you? Oh, it's just,
That is such a layered line, huh?
yeah.
I would say Texan, and I would say no more. I mean, they were dead anyways. The fact that they got it out of that, like they didn't hear a car driving behind them, whatever. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Good scene.
Yeah.